Burning bridges is bad. That's the rule we're all taught. Imagine you're in a quarterly review. You're about to share a key highlight, and John, that one colleague, talks over you. Again, you've shut him down before, but he never learns. In my experience, most people keep repeating the cycle and hope he'll change. But what happens when you've decided you've had enough? Besides standing in the room helplessly, what should you do when the cost of maintaining the bridge is higher than the value of the connection? In the last episode, we shared how to regain control from the interrupter. But today, we're talking about the breaking point. Like I mentioned, I had this colleague John who loved to be the center of attention. John wasn't a bad person. He was actually a brilliant coach. But he had a pattern. He loved to colonize conversations. No matter who was speaking, he rarely waited for them to finish. With Stan, the interrupter I mentioned in the last episode, I used the flip framework to save the connection. If you're interested in how Stan's situation improved, I've linked the video down below. Go check it out. Anyway, John was different. With John, he not only took up time that was meant for important meetings, he also made it impossible for others to respect him. That was when I realized that it was time for a different approach. Before I talk about the framework I used to let John go professionally, let's talk about the dynamic in the room when John constantly takes over the meeting or conversation. So, when someone like John constantly steals the spotlight, they aren't just being rude. They are deliberately erasing you from the conversation. And in my case, John was trying to erase my value in the room. Picture this. It's like they're setting a ticking bomb beneath your professional status. If you try to dismantle the bomb several times with no success, the only way to save yourself, unfortunately, is to let the bomb go. So, in this case, it was time to let John go. So back to that meeting. John cut me off for the third time. So I held my silence. The atmosphere in the room froze, like the Ice Age. This meeting was no longer about a project update. It was a status test. I realized that if I keep staying in this loop, I was actually signing a tacit contract that said my voice didn't matter. As a matter of fact, I was agreeing to his terms without even knowing it. That's when I used the match framework. But before I show you the framework, let me show you the mistakes most people make. You see, most people, when they hit this freezing point, they react emotionally. They get visible and audibly angry. The truth is, in a professional setting, the moment you lose your cool, you might not only lose the room, you might also lose money. So in my case, John would have become the victim and I would have become the problem. I would have just handed my status and my value to John on a silver platter. And the second biggest mistake, get this, is even more common. Most people, they apologize for the interruption. They'll say things like, "Oh sorry, I'll just finish this quickly," or something like, "I'll be done in a second." You see, when you apologize for being interrupted, you're literally paying the status tax. You're telling the room that John's time is more valuable than your own. So I knew it was crucial for me to not make either mistakes. I couldn't be the aggressor. I refused to be the victim either. And that's when I used the match framework. So the first thing you're gonna do is acknowledge the pattern. You don't call out the incident. By calling out the pattern, it's like we've struck a match and are ready to burn the bridge. So in my case, I said, "John, this is the third time you cut me off in this meeting." By stating that fact clearly, I drew a boundary for everyone in the room. And the next step is when you burn the bridge. You execute the consequences. So in my case, it was time for me to show the room what happens next. I asked John to speak with me after the meeting, which eventually led to his removal from the team. In a professional setting, this isn't being mean. It's being precise. And the last step you're going to do is, of course, to carry on with the meeting. So let's rewind back to the meeting before I removed John from the team. Resuming back to the meeting calmly, with your authority intact, shows the room you handle these situations professionally, not personally. Society frowns on burning bridges, but nobody talks about the emotional workload we sacrifice to tolerate these oblivious behaviors. The match framework helped me save my career and sustain my authority and influence in the company. Let me know in the comments where have you repeatedly sacrificed yourself to maintain a relationship that was already long gone. In the next episode, we'll dive into mindset shifts that help you navigate disrespectful environments without losing your cool. Hope to see you there. Bye!